All rise. Justice Court is back in session. You may be seated.
Case number 12 CR 00011, State of Nevada versus Peter James Helfrich. Let the record reflect the defendant is present in court in custody, represented by Mr. Harry Ginsler of the Nye County Public Defender's Office, and the state is represented by Deputy District Attorney Mr. Michael Vieta-Cabell. This is the date set for trial on one count domestic battery. Is the state ready to proceed?
We are, Your Honor.
And Mr. Keene?
Defense is ready.
Are you still ready?
No, we're ready to proceed about an hour late, and I apologize.
Are there any preliminary motions?
Exclusionary rule.
Exclusionary rule. Judge, let me just advise you that Mr. Helfrich advised me today that he thought he had about $1,600 saved up. He thought 800 of that was accessible to him. After our chat this morning, he indicated he wanted to hire a private counsel and wanted to continue this matter. I told him that $800 would probably not be enough to tempt a lawyer to come out here from Las Vegas. So I wanted you to be aware of that. Otherwise, I'm ready to go.
And the only thing the state would add to that is, I believe Mr. Helfrich was living in sort of an encampment and not an actual residence, and so I'm just concerned if it's $1,600 to his name that, you know, I mean, you might be able to scrounge up enough to tempt a lawyer, but that would leave you with literally no way to put food in your mouth and, you know, clothes on your back.
All right, well, I am not privy to Mr. Helfrich's personal financial situation, other than the fact that he apparently qualified for court-appointed counsel, and I am not of a mind to continue this case today, so we will go forward.
Thank you.
How many witnesses do you have?
The state has 3 witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, who is your first witness?
The first witness is going to be Ms. Sylvia Castillo.
Okay. Are any of the other witnesses present?
They are.
Please wait out in the lobby and do not discuss your testimony with anyone. Thank you.
Come on in. We have you stand right here. I'm going to have you face the clerk and raise your right hand to the best of your ability.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You may be seated.
I'm going to ask you to speak loud enough so the microphone is picking up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please state your name and spell your name for us?
Sylvia Castillo. Is that too loud?
That's perfect. Could everybody hear?
Yes, I can hear fine.
Silvia, last name Castillo.
I'm going to just move to amend the criminal complaint real quick to correct the spelling of her name from S-Y-L-V-I-A to S-I-L-V-I-A.
So amended, thank you.
I want to talk to you about some events that happened right around New Year's, January 1st of this year. Mm-hmm. Do you remember calling the police around that date?
Yes.
Why did you call the police on that date?
Oh, it all began over a lady at Smith's when he went to purchase a money order, and I was very elated over a burgundy shirt that I got at the Salvation Army, like a pregnancy shirt, but tight. And then And then the lady, before that, I was already giving her the looks, like, you better not come near me in my image because, you know, I have an image with your girls, and we like to compare each other's body forms and say hi to each other and look at each other's wardrobe or whatever. And I have plans of a career in the future, going to college and all that kind of stuff, and I know a lot of people in the city. And so she said to Mr. Peter Helfrich, honey, and then he says, I love you. So then I said, do not expect me to have your baby.
I wanted to ask you a question real quick. Is Peter Helfrich here with us today?
Excuse me?
Is Peter Helfrich in the room with us?
Yes.
Could you point to him and describe something he's wearing?
Orange?
Okay. And I don't know that she can point.
Not.
Are there any other colors on Mr. Helfrich?
Is it him?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Stipulate she's identified the defendant. Yeah.
Thank you.
What's your relationship with Mr. Helfrich?
Well, Mr. Gerald F. Knuckles is like a black civil rights political, like, rebel, and he believes in no medicine, and I used to work for him, and I'm always getting organic marijuana for Mr. Gerald F. Knuckles, and that's how I met Mr. Peter.
What was your relationship with the defendant, Peter Helfrich, back on January 1st?
He asked me to be his, like, fiancé.
Okay. Were you guys dating?
Since June the 21st, last year,
Okay.
2011.
And were you guys still together on January 1st of this year, 2012?
It was a shaky marriage, and I was already, like, making plans to kind of, like, leave him.
Okay. Where were you guys staying on January 1st, 2012?
East Basin, across the street from Payless Storage, and he has a teardrop camper, a school bus, and another camper that they gave him.
Okay. On that January 1st date, what happened to you that made you call the cops?
Okay, first it was the issue of that woman at Smith's, and we talked about it. Then after that, I went panhandling, and there was a worker, a man, that works at Smith's, and to me he looked like a Chucky, you know, and the other guy, I call him his culture a Guatemalteco. He's a Guatemala guy, and obviously he lives, like, I think homeless or whatever. And the other guy, a white boy. It was New Year's, and they invited me to a party, and I said sure, you know. And I was getting ready to meet them around 8 o'clock or whatever. And then after that, another car drove up, and it was, so I always call them skinheads. You might call them skinheads, but just because they're bald-headed and white. But he was a very cool guy, and he says, oh, you know, Mikey, your son, he's my neighbor, and he's doing okay. And I said, oh, really? And then I knew in my thought that my son, I do not call him Mikey. My ex-husband's nephew, they call him Mikey, so I had suspicions. I said, in my thought, oh my God, I hope my ex-husband is not around here in the city. Everybody's kind of like moving to Vegas or Pahrump, my family.
I'm going to jump in. One thing, I have to try to figure out what happened right around the exact time that you called the police.
Yes.
What were you doing?
Oh, he gave me $5 when I was panhandling, and then I went home, and then we were discussing about Suzette Bermudo going to court on January the 3rd, and before that, he controlled my free will of expressing my what I wanted to say, how she controlled my $6 barbecue grill, and no twigs from the trees, and he bought the mesquite wood, and also he countersued she said that he had to leave the property. And she hid her last name, and I mediated. And then he told me, well, I'm going to kick you if you don't go and take care of this matter with Suzanne.
Who said they were going to kick you?
Mr. Peter Helfrich, that he was going to kick me out of my bed.
Okay. What happened after that?
Then I went, I used to go to Oasis Community to get a perishable food box for free in the mornings. And Suzette used to go there. And so she had to leave my face while I was getting a fruit box. And so I said, good, I took care of the matter. And I did not wanted Mr. Peter Helfrich to put words in my mouth to say more or less. She stated that he lit up fires around his whatever campsite. And then I said, no, he never lit up any fires while I was there. You cannot bring, when I was not there before, and bring it while I'm there. I got all the plastic bags, I had a bag with a basket, and put all the plastic bags and go to Rebel, to the city, and just throw the trash as careful as possible.
Do you remember about what time you called the police?
No, I do not remember the time.
Do you remember if it was in the morning?
I remember it was nighttime.
It was nighttime?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, did you see Peter at all that night?
Yes, Peter and I were talking about Suzette. And I wrote a warrant upon Suzette. And then they said they did not understand it. It was a bunch of scribbled lines on the top, and then at the bottom, I wrote blah 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 exactly what happened, and then after that, that was my anger that they did not. That I was already computing a lot of things, and that's it.
I'd stipulate that Mr. Vieira-Cabell could lead a little more if he so desires, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. King.
I appreciate it. Do you remember talking to me over at the jail earlier this week?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember me asking you what happened between you and Peter at the school bus?
Well, we were cooking lamb chops, and I Gracie Jiu-Jitsu on our way walking, and I threw him to the ground, pulled his hair, and punched his rib. Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, since the very beginning, I had my backpack, a little, not a backpack, but a diaper bag, a black Similac diaper bag. And it's plastic inside, and we used to put the bag of ice in the summertime. And so my purse with all my credit cards or whatever, identity or whatever, was in there. And I told Peter, I have to go and get my purse before I go to bed. And then he snaps at me. And then he snaps at me, and I said, well, you cannot expect magical wonders or miracles if I cannot come home with a bag of ice. And obviously, this is not a secure place. And then he slapped me right here and left me with the scar. And then I forgave him. And then after that, one day he snapped, and then he put a letter on the door when I went to work and came back home, and he says, oh, blah, 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 you gotta go. And then I guess my mistake was to say, why, you told me to be yours and all that kind of stuff. And then I said, I can't go back to the other guy or whatever.
I'm gonna jump in again, because I wanted to talk more about the school bus.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember, were you in the school bus when you called the police?
Oh, after we got through rumbling, he says, let go of me. And then I let him punch my face. Then after that, he goes to his teardrop little camper, and then he waits for me. And then I said, well, I'm going to go look for my backpack. Well, it's not really a backpack, let me quote.
Well,
the child bag.
Where did you go to look for that?
Oh, after him beating my face, I went looking for my, I told him I'm going to go look for my bag. And then after that, he was in his camper waiting for me. And then I felt my face extremely like, oh no, I can't go to bed like this. I'm all like, I'm wounded. And then I get into the school bus, and I happen to find the cell phone. And then when I find the cell phone, I dial 911. He hears me from his teardrop camper, dialing 911. He takes the phone, And later on, I heard that he had a machete on my back. I did not know, and I thought they were cans. And then I covered my face up, and then he pushes me out the camper, and my elbow is still sore from that. And then the sheriffs, they showed up, and I ran to them.
Okay. You mentioned getting punched in the face. Who punched you in the face?
Mr. Peter Helfrich.
Okay. Do you remember how many times he punched you?
No, I was I was kind of like feigning, but not feigning, and then I kind of like said, you know, like
Did you try to stop him?
No, I did not touch his face.
Okay. Did you try to cover your face?
No,
How did it feel when he hit you?
some kind of way I did not have the thought to cover my face. It was kind of shameful to say this. I was pretty much calling God on the phone.
Why were you calling God?
You know, in the mind, I was like saying, "Oh my God, look at him."
How did you feel when that was happening?
Oh, he punched me so much that I didn't feel the pain. It was kind of numbed, and then later on, I felt the swelling in my head.
Okay. Now, you said something about your back. What happened with your back?
You dial 911, blank, blank, blank. And then he started, I didn't feel the things on my back either.
Okay.
And then,
Was there something on your back?
machete?
Okay. Could you see that it was a machete?
No.
Okay. Did anything touch your back?
Yeah, when I went to the hospital, I had 6 staples, and I have a bald spot that never got repaired.
Okay. Will the record reflect that the witness is touching the back of her head with her fingers? Did something happen to the back of your head?
They took pictures of the bed and everything. I thought there were a bunch of cans, to tell you the truth.
Okay. What were the cans doing with the back of your head?
Yeah, that's because I did not know they were machetes.
Okay. What happened to the back of your head, though, that you remember? Did you feel anything on the back of your head?
No.
Okay. Did anybody touch the back of your head?
Just Peter with the machete.
Okay. And where did that happen?
In the school bus.
Okay. Was it a light touch or a hard touch?
Well, as the sting progressed, I went to the ground and I covered my face and I told him to stop. Then he pushed me.
Okay. At this point, I'll pass the witness.
Ms. Castillo, I'm the lawyer for Mr. Helfrich. My name's Harry. The school bus, you said, was somewhere, is that in the desert outside of Pahrump?
Yes.
Not too far from the, I think you said the Walgreen? Or the
Payless shoe
from the
store?
Payless? It's within, is that within a walking distance?
Yes.
Now, I think you said that you were cooking some lamb chops in the school bus? Is that a yes?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Yes.
Were you cooking for yourself and for Mr. Helfrich?
Yes.
Okay. I was listening very carefully to you. You
Chicken
said,
legs.
I'm sorry?
I'm chicken legs.
Chicken legs?
I do not like lamb chops. I do not eat red meat.
Okay. You were cooking something, though. Then I thought I heard you say that you pulled Mr. Helfrich's hair and that you punched his ribs. Were you the first person to hit? Why did you hit him while you were cooking for him? Do you remember?
The thought that went behind my action?
Yes.
I said, first of all, he didn't believe me that I was already in the process of suing and collecting all the gathering of warrants to holler rape upon my image as a sport. And I kept telling him I have a 15-year-old little boy that no one is going to threaten or touch and bring up past mistakes and live through my so-called confession or whatever in the I am what you might call a very lotus Mexican tarot card reader, prophetess, and I said I do not sell my power. And the women decided to compete with my, I guess you want to call it mothership, beauty, image, or whatever.
I could stop you. So if I understood you, you were cooking, and then for whatever reason, you...
He scarred my face right here, and
Did
I said he's not going to put his... I even told him, I said, you put a spirit on all the women to laugh at me because now I'm all scarred and everybody's going to come out flaunting their beauty, and apparently you do not know how much I love to express my beauty. I love to go to the ocean. I love to travel. I'm a homeschool mother, daycare provider. I never been in jail before. I never been attacked as such a rapist in any kind of way.
If I could, though, I'm just trying to figure out, though, you were cooking, and then as I understand you, you hit Peter first?
Yeah. He hit me right here first,
Okay,
and
he
then
hit
he
you
kept
first.
kicking me.
Okay, let me get that, let me clear that up. When you were cooking, are you saying that Peter hit you first by your eye?
When I first met him.
That was a while ago? All right.
On June 21st is when he asked me to date with him.
But on January 1st, on the day when you called the police, who hit who first?
I hit him.
Okay.
I said, you're not going to scar or put another threat, or you do not have the right to be jealous. I even had a dream about God. It was like a Catholic type of big church and a bunch of old men with blood torches.
Let me ask you this, though. Okay, you indicated you hit him first. What did he do when you hit him? What did he do to you, if anything?
I said to him, okay, what went behind my thought of why I punched him?
No. What did he do after you're hitting him? What did he do to you?
Yes.
Tell me what he did to you.
Oh, he told me let go.
Okay, did he hit you?
Then he hit me.
Okay. Then he hit you?
Yes.
All right.
And I did not lay a finger on him.
Did you stop hitting him at that point?
I said, give me your biggest, best punch on how you're trying to scar my face.
All right. Did he give you? Did you think he was giving you his best punch?
Yes.
All right. Now, Mr. Villacabal asked you.
Oh, Mr. Joey, his friend Phantom filmed it.
How many times do you think you were hit by Mr. Helfrich?
I couldn't count.
All right. Were you bleeding?
It was dark. I didn't see the blood.
All right. Now, if I understand you, you said that you found a cell phone and then you called 911.
Yes, he goes to the camper like it's a normal day.
Let me just help me out here. And if I understand you correctly, after you dialed 911, Mr. Helfrich came over and pushed you out of the camper.
He got the phone when he heard me dialing.
He took the phone and then pushed you out of the camper.
No, he was in his teardrop camper, which is the bedroom. And I went looking for my purse, and he thinks it's like the same issues like the first time. I think so, I think. I had already warned him, you're not allowed to be jealous of God.
Okay, but let me...
He looks at me.
I'm just trying to... When you had the phone, though, he took the phone from you, Peter did. Did he hit you anymore after you took the phone?
Okay, I went into the school bus, I said, and I got the phone, and I said, no, I'm not going to have this man insecuring me in my bed and just spontaneously punching me. Poor sport, not liberal.
Did he hit you when he pushed you out of the camper?
He got the phone.
Did he hit you? Can you answer that? Did he hit you?
When
he got the phone from you. When he took the phone from you, did he hit you then?
Yes, that's when he came in with the machete. All
right. And then he pushed you out of the camper?
Then he pushed me out of the camper. Right. He got mad when I dialed 911.
At any time, did you have a knife and threaten Mr. Helfrich when you were in the house, in the camper?
No.
All right. Did you ever hold anything that could be a weapon, like a frying pan or a...
No.
All right. And then you said when you went to the hospital, they put 6 staples in your head?
Yes.
All right. And was it a lady police officer that you saw that showed up at the
To
place?
tell you the truth,
Do you remember if it was a lady or not?
I couldn't open my left eye.
All right. Fair enough. Those are all the questions I have. Mr. Villacabal may have some questions for you.
No further questions, Your
Can she be excused?
Honor.
Thank you very much.
The state's next witness is going to be Deputy Monique Mendoza. Thank you. I'm going to go with Mr. Arntz.
Can I take it back to the day or?
You may.
Take it back to the holding zone?
Whatever's
You
easiest
can
for
take
you.
her back to the department. We're finished with her, and I'll have the bailiff take care of Mr. Helfrich. All right, thank you.
I read that. I got it.
Oh, no, I know.
Deputy Arms is returning her to the jail, so you'll be taking custody of him.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated.
Please state your name and spell your last name for us.
Monique Mendoza, Mendoza.
What do you do for a living, Miss Mendoza?
I'm employed with the Nye County Sheriff's Office here in Portland as a deputy sheriff.
Okay. Were you on duty on January 1st of 2012?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Did you run into someone named Sylvia Castillo that night?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And where did you run into her?
It was in the area of, I believe it was 2400 East Basin.
Okay. And that's here in Pahrump?
Yes.
Okay. And why did you go to that location?
I was dispatched there for a report of a domestic.
Okay. And what did you find when you arrived at that location?
I found Miss Castillo. She kind of popped up out of nowhere in the desert. She was severely beaten. Her left eye was swollen shut. She had some blood coming down the left side of her neck. She also had blood on the back of her head.
Okay. And what kind of is that a residence? What's at that location?
I guess it's a residence. That's where she and her boyfriend stay, or what she called her boyfriend.
Okay. I'm going to approach and show you what's been marked as State's Proposed Exhibit Number 1. I want you to just take a look at it real quick and let me know once you get a chance to look at it if you recognize it. And it should just be. Sure.
These are the photos.
Yes, I do recognize it.
And what do you recognize State's Proposed Exhibit 1 to be?
Sylvia Castillo and the condition I found her in.
Are those photos that you took?
Yes, they are.
Okay. And you took them that night that you went with Ms. Castillo?
Yes, I took them as soon as I could because the medics were on their way and they were going to take her.
Okay.
So,
Do those appear to be true and accurate copies of those photos that you took?
yes, they do.
Okay. At this point, I've marked them all as State's Proposed Exhibit Number 1. Does Your Honor prefer that they get separate designations for each photo?
How many are there?
I believe there's approximately 6.
If we're going to go through them, other than what she's just identified, they should be marked individually. If you're not, then that's fine.
I'm just going to move for admission.
No objection to the 5 in aggregate. I think there's 5.
I,
All right, thank you.
Okay. I'm going to move for admission of State's Proposed Exhibit Number 1 at this time.
Any objection?
No, none, Your Honor.
Exhibit 1 will be admitted.
Did you locate Mr. Helfrich?
yes,
Okay. And is he here in the courtroom with us?
yes, he is.
Okay. Could you just tell us which individual he is?
He's sitting to my right in the orange and white.
Okay. So, did you have a chance to speak with the defendant on that night?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And what did you talk to him about?
I asked him what happened with Miss Castillo.
Did he tell you?
Yes, he did.
Okay. What did he tell you happened?
He said that they were in an all-out brawl and that he had punched her repeatedly, but only after she had pulled out a knife on him, is what he said.
Okay. Did you do any further investigation to see if you could find the knife or verify his version?
Yes, I did. I relocated to the bus. It's a school bus is where they live, or there is a school bus in the area that they live in, which is where I was told the incident happened. And
Had he described the knife to you?
yes, he did. and he said that what it sounded to me that he described was a kitchen knife with some tape wrapped around the handle portion of it.
Okay. And did you spend very much time looking for that?
I spent quite a bit of time looking for it, probably, if I'd have to guess, anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes.
Okay. And were you able to find that?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. Did you ask him if he could give you a more specific location for where that knife might be?
He was asked several times. I personally asked him, and I believe Detective Berkowitz had asked him quite a few times at my request also.
Okay. Did he give you an answer as to where that knife might be?
He gave me a general location, but no actual or specific area in the school bus.
Okay. And was that general location he gave you, that was the area that you searched?
The school bus, yes.
Okay. What was Mr. Helfrich's appearance that night?
Well, he appeared like he was in a fight. However, the injuries that I observed weren't as severe on him as the injuries on Castillo.
Okay. And you mentioned that Ms. Castillo had what appeared to be some fairly severe injuries in your estimation. What areas of the body were those injuries to? Do you recall?
Mostly to the left side of her face.
Okay. Any additional injuries on the head?
On the back of her head.
Okay. At this point, I'll pass the witness.
Officer Mendoza, did you have a chance to talk to Ms. Castillo about the allegation that she had a knife? Did you have a chance at the scene?
I had asked her if, prior to speaking with Mr. Helfrich, I had asked her if there were any weapons involved, and she had told me no.
And how big of a place, let me back up. Apparently Mr. Helfrich tried to give you a general idea of where he thought the knife was and a general description of it, right?
Yes.
And I mean, are we talking about a big area that you had to search?
A school bus?
Did you pretty much search the whole school bus from back to front, or just the area that Mr. Helfrich thought it might be?
From back to front, I did.
So you went up and down and took a real good look, right?
Yes.
Okay. Was the place reasonably neat? I mean, other than the fact a brawl had occurred in there, or was it a pigsty full of all kinds of stuff?
It was a pigsty.
It was a pigsty, all right. So was there a lot of stuff laying around that maybe something could have been under? You know how people leave trash laying around, and then just trying to get a visual image of what you had to do to try and find the knife.
There were, if I remember correctly, a couple bags. So I did my best to pick those up and look underneath them, look under the seats, which is why I had Detective Berkowitz ask Mr. Helfrich if there was a more specific location. There were, I don't know that this has any relevance, but there were firearms in the school bus that he was able to tell me about. But the knife, which I thought was pretty important, he couldn't remember where that was at.
I gotcha. From your examination of the school bus, did you see any signs of blood? Because, apparently Ms. Castillo was bleeding, right?
Yes, there was lots of blood.
In the school bus?
Yes.
From back to front, or confined to a particular area?
It was from probably the middle of the school bus to the end of the school, the rear of the school bus,
So
leading out.
like half the school bus apparently had blood evidence or blood smears? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All right. And I think you took a good look at Mr. Helfrich. Do you recall if he had any wounds, any bleeding wounds on his person? Feel free to look at your report if you want. I don't see it in your report.
I think I noted in my report that he had some scratches and small cuts. I think the major injury that I saw on him was on his right hand. It was swollen, appeared red, I think.
Well, let me ask you,
Remembering.
right hand swollen, and if you can't answer, please tell me. Did it appear that the right hand was swollen because he was using it to smack something?
Yes.
All right. I mean, it doesn't take an Einstein to figure that out, right, when you've been on a cop for a while?
Yes.
Okay. And then it's my understanding Mr. Helfrich admitted that he had repeatedly punched Ms. Castillo, but only after he claimed a knife had appeared.
Pulled on him, yes.
Did he give you any idea how many times he may have punched Ms. Castillo?
Not a specific number, but I would assume more than once.
Well, repeatedly would definitely mean more than once. All right. Did you have a chance to look at Ms. Castillo before the paramedics got there, just at her injuries?
Just from what I saw and took
Photograph?
pictures of.
All right. I mean, generally, you try not to get your hands anywhere close to the blood, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. And finally, did Mr. Helfrich give kind of a more detailed explanation as to why he thought he could act in self-defense with a knife? I mean, did he tends to ramble in my experience. I'm wondering if you recall anything he told you about the knife thing and why or what or anything like that. You follow my question?
Not specifically. I mean, he did talk a lot, but the more important, I guess, parts of the investigation is what I paid attention to.
Fair enough. Those are all the questions I have. Thank you.
Mr. Viedic, Bill, anything further?
No further questions, Your Honor.
And should be excused.
She may.
Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you, ma'am. Did you want?
They've been admitted.
The state's last witness will be Ms. Robin Shope.
Some additional pictures.
Do you want to see these in color? I can tell those are black and whites, and it might not come. Look real quick.
You solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated.
Go ahead, have a seat. I want to ask you to speak up a little bit, just so my phone's speaking.
No problem.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please state your name and spell your name for us?
Yes, my name is Robin Shope, R-O-B-Y-N, Shope, S-H-O-P-E.
Thank you. What do you do for a living, Ms. Shope?
I'm the program manager and domestic violence advocate for No to Abuse here in Pahrump.
Okay. What are your responsibilities in that job?
I am responsible for the welfare of the women who walk into my office who have been domestically abused or possibly abused.
Okay. Over the course of that responsibility, do you ever take photographs?
Yes, we do when necessary.
Okay. And when do you deem it necessary to take photographs of someone?
Normally if there is a mark on the woman that she claims was a part of the abuse at the time, then pictures are taken.
Okay. I want to talk to you specifically about an individual named Sylvia Castillo. Do you know who that is?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And how do you know Ms. Castillo?
Originally, Ms. Castillo walked into my office in December of 2011. She was brought in by the Nye County Sheriff Department. At that time, she had claimed that she had been sexually assaulted 6 months prior.
Okay. I want to move away from that December event and talk about some events in January. Mm-hmm. Did you see Ms. Castillo on some unrelated events in January?
In January, we received a crisis line call. That was January 2nd. And at that time, it was a call from Desert View Hospital claiming that they had a patient who they felt needed to speak to a domestic violence advocate, and the patient had said that she would do that. So I was called.
And did you go to Desert View Hospital?
Yes, I did.
And what did you do when you got to Desert View?
I asked the receptionist to be let in, that there was a patient there wanted to see me. I was let in. At that point, I was placed in the what they call the multi-room, which is a 6-bed unit. And at the end of the unit, she was laying in the bed there.
And when you say she was laying in the bed there, could you tell us by name who was laying in the bed?
At the moment, I didn't know who it was. I didn't have a name. When I walked up to the bed, I didn't recognize the person. So I introduced myself and held out my hand, in which case she gave me the hand that had her name band on it. And then I realized it was Sylvia Castillo.
Okay. After you saw the name band, were you able to recognize her?
Yes.
Okay. What caused you difficulty in recognizing her at first?
She had multiple injuries to her face, her neck, and what was visible at that time was her left arm.
Did you take photos of those injuries?
Yes, we did.
Okay. I'm going to approach you and show you what's been marked as State's Proposed Exhibit number 2. And I want you to go ahead and look through. There's a number of different sheets here. Look through, and once you're done looking at them, let me know if you recognize State's Proposed Exhibit number 2.
I've seen him, thank you, sir.
Yes.
Can you tell me what State's Proposed Exhibit number 2 is?
These are actually pictures that were taken, photographed at Note of Abuse in the sexual assault room of the client.
And when were those photographs taken?
These were taken January 5th. Originally, we had taken pictures January 2nd, but due to a malfunction in the camera, they did not come out.
Did you take those pictures that you have up there?
I